and welcome to the Gift of Disillusionment series for Faith-Driven Entrepreneur. My name is Allison Long-Patine, and I've been investing in startups and entrepreneurs for over a decade with a variety of funds where I've been both a founder or partner. Over those years, I've noticed something consistent that nearly all founders feel, and it probably won't shock any of you watching this series. Entrepreneurship is hard. As faith-driven entrepreneurs, we often have big dreams and ambitions of making the world better. But along the way, we encounter various challenges that wear us thin. What do we do when we feel like we can't go on any longer? In this series, Peter Greer is going to talk about how those moments that feel so low can actually propel us forward and help bring clarity to our businesses and our roles as leaders. Peter is the author of more than a dozen award-winning books, including Mission Drift, Rooting for Rivals, The Spiritual Danger of Doing Good, and the inspiration for this series, The Gift of Disillusionment. He's also the president of Hope International, a micro-enterprise development organization serving countries throughout Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Eastern Europe. In this first episode, Peter helps us see the challenges of our current moment and pushes us to ask ourselves where we turn when the road ahead feels too challenging. Let's hear what he has to say.
Stating the obvious, the last couple years have been rough. Our world has been disrupted, and we're starting to see the impact in a variety of different studies. Did you know that there was a study that was done by the American Psychological Association, and it found that 49% of teachers reported a desire to quit or transfer schools? 1 out of 2 of those that are educating our children are daydreaming about an exit. And we see a similar statistic when it comes to those involved in full-time ministry. A study was done by Barna, and it found that 38% of pastors have thought about quitting full-time ministry in the past year. And we see it worse in the health sector. 90% of nurses have considered leaving the profession in the next year. When we look at the indicators where hope is running thin, I can tell you that also mirrors the last couple of years that I've had. I have never had a more difficult season of leadership than right now at Hope International. We were founded in Ukraine, and watching the invasion that happened on February 24th, we see headlines of cities and rocket attacks, and we know that we have friends whom we love in those cities. It has broken our hearts. And then Haiti. Haiti is a place that we also work, and watching the way after the assassination of the president that there has been increased gang violence, and where the way that they are financing these operations is by taking children hostage. That is happening to some of our church partners, and it breaks our heart. And for all of us, my guess is the last few years, we can point to the specific examples, whether it is at a family level with those that we love, or whether it is in our society, or whether it is on a global stage. We have stories that break our hearts, and it feels like hope is hard to hold on to. So what do we do in those moments? What do we do? And I can tell you, as a society, here's what we turn to. We turn to meditation apps, we turn to candles, we turn to fitness programs, and all of those things might help. But the question is it possible that we might be looking in the wrong place? In these moments where hope feels like it is running thin, is it possible for us to rediscover a true, a real, and enduring hope that holds us even in those most difficult moments?
I recently read a story of a pilot flying through thick, dense fog. It was so bad that he couldn't even see the runway as he started to land. But the plane had sophisticated tools that could detect the landing spot. Had he tried to take control and maneuver the plane himself, he would have risked crashing. So instead, he trusted in something outside of himself that could see things he couldn't. Where are you running thin on your entrepreneurial journey? Where do you turn when you experience disillusionment? Many of us turn to what we can control, to what we can understand. But Scripture tells us to lean on God, not on our own understanding, and He will direct our paths. That's from Proverbs 3:5-6. He can bring clarity when all we see is confusion. This is how Joseph can say, after being kidnapped, falsely accused, and imprisoned, that what men meant for evil, God actually used for good. Or why James can instruct his readers to count the trials and tribulations as joy because they produce steadfastness. It is always difficult to fly through the fog. It's hard not to grasp for control at every opportunity. But we have a God who knows much more than we do, and He is worthy of our trust. Talk about this session in your group and how it relates to the journey you're on. Open yourselves up to learning from one another. I want you to be transparent and honest with each other. What you get out of this time together will only be as enriching and life-giving as what you put into it. See you next time.